I only mention this because the album names were We Thought a Kitten Might Lift Our Mother's Spirits in 2013, and We're Not Convinced There Has Been Any Significant Improvement in 2014.
That's funny because they almost tell us a whole story. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
isn't feeling great. We got her a kitten. To be continued. Oh shit, the kitten didn't work.
Yes, and no significant improvement. And I guess the final album would have been, it was our decision to turn off the life support machine. But anyway.
Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's Andy, it's John, and it's time to dig into some music. So, John, you are going to be charged with offering up something for me to go off and listen to. Then we're going to come back and discuss it, hopefully at length. So, John, what do you have in store?
Okay, the band is called Parcels. Or if you're really, really northern, you call them Parcels. There's an old, because there's the thing about the vowel sounding, whether you're northern or southern in Britain.
Right.
So in the north, you say bath. In the south, you say bath.
Oh.
And then you say grass and grass,
Grass.
path and path. And then there's this limerick. There was a young man from Newcastle who wrapped up a turd in a parcel. Anyway, I won't go on from that. But so the band is called Parcels. The track is called Bemyself, and it's a live capture, as it were. It's them playing live.
Okay, but it's an
in the studio.
Yeah, it's an
studio.
audio. Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
I couldn't get the video of them performing.
Yeah.
I couldn't get one that wouldn't get blocked.
Yeah. Oh, the limitations of YouTube. Okay. Well, I shall take this parcel and handle it with care. Go off and give this a listen, and then come back and let you know what I think. This is pretty. Already, this song has got me just in good spirits and smiling. I don't know, it's probably just that clean, mellow guitar work. It's almost reminiscent of a more digitally polished or overproduced, not overproduced, but I don't know, produced with a much more modern touch than, but still reminiscent of, like, I don't know, Jerry Garcia or any of that kind of like 70s bluesy jammy stuff. Just nice little touches on the plucking and the guitar notes. It just sounds so pretty, and there's some nice little bass work happening back there too that isn't lost on me. Yeah, this is really lovely. Harmonies and the oohs and all that layered so lovely. It just sounds so nice. There is this peaceful quality to the sound that is just like with each passing second is kind of like brightening my spirits more and more.
I know it'll be see myself, see myself.
Oh, that bass is so awesome. Here, you guitar. Come on in. Oh. That guitar through that whole portion, no matter what it was doing, and it was changing its style a little bit. It was like watching like a chameleon change its patterns over this swath of, I don't know, 40 seconds or whatever it was, but so pretty. Oh my God, I want to take it back. Oh man, that was lovely. Oh my goodness. Ah, the guitar work was so, I don't know, inviting. Like all of it was. It was just so warm and clean, and it had this brightness to it. It was just lovely guitar work, lovely vocal work, all the oohs and the harmonizations, a jaunty little kind of cultish bass line that kind of just has, I don't know, a youthful bounce to it. Yeah, this is quite a charming song, quite oddly uplifting in its own way, and even just sort of the "be myself" mantra has some like, I don't know, clearly some hints of like affirmation, and couple that with the beauty of the song, and I think it just naturally kind of puts you in a good mood. So yeah, this was a big hit for me. I'd love to learn more about these guys. They look like an interesting bunch from the thumbnail. So let's get back to John and find out more.
Huey Lewis in the news. He's back. So you've had a listen to Parcels. What do you think?
Oh man, I think a lot of things. Beautiful touches of cymbal work and clean mellow guitar kind of start things off, and instantly I'm wooed into smiling by this gentle and playful tranquility. Yeah, it's just, I mean, couple that with just the "Be Myself" kind of mantra, and it's just like this lovely little piece of like affirmation. You know what I mean? It just kind of brightens your mood. So the guitar work is actually, in its own way, in a much more modern, polished, and cleaned up way, reminiscent of kind of like Jerry Garcia or any of these like kind of 70s jam rock bands, because there's some bluesy touches to it, but it's so clean as well. It's just a bit tidier and more digitally polished, but there are the shades of like music from the 70s, like rock music from the 70s that I'm getting from it. And it's really, really pleasing to my ears. And around also some really nice bass work happening in here as well, I gotta say. I feel like I'm, contractually obligated to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Um,
Something wrong if you don't say.
Around the 50-second mark, the singer joins in with this falsetto. But a few lines in, he switches to his true voice, which is nice because I don't know if I could deal with a whole verse of falsetto. But it is nice that he's like kind of going back and forth between them. Also, there are these great oohs and harmonies provided by others in the band, and it really adds to the richness of the vocals. And again, more of this pleasant, smile-inducing kind of motif that they've got going on here. I just really, really love it. Um, After the refrain of "See Myself" is delivered, we get treated to some quality, jaunty bass work, bolstered by this lovely backbeat with accents of this really beautifully clean, high note guitar work. And it almost bounces off the rest of the music like raindrops on a windshield. The guitar work evolves a bit during this part and shifts from that aforementioned sound to these bent, slightly warped chords that resonate just a touch. And this all sounds so lush and pristine. And as this portion progresses, we then get treated to some jazzy, funky kind of guitar work and strum patterns that then devolve into this playful, stilted portion almost for just a few seconds before then blossoming again into some beautiful bluesy flourishes. And I have to say, this bit of the song is my favorite because of all the transformations that the guitar is going through as it progresses. And it's just a wonderful illustration of just some really lovely, tight but loose sounding guitar. Like, it's tight from a technical standpoint, but it's effortless in its sound. And I loved that. I also have to say that at the 30ish second, that the last 30ish seconds of the guitar work have been just not only technically beautiful, but tonally, it has just such a sweet, sweet sound to it. It's really tickling my listening bone. And we head back into the verse with more of the great vocal work that they had, done in the first portion with all these harmonies and oohs and this sort of team effort, if you will, to attack the vocals in this track. And then the second chorus comes around, and instead of the line "See Myself" being repeated, they are changed to the title of the track, "Be Myself." And the song works its way to this lovely resonant ending with like an organ chord or something like that, that sort of carries us finally to eventual silence in the end of the song. And it was just a beautiful song with obviously deft guitar work that I discussed, amazing harmonies and vocals in general. And it has this sort of like rainbow after the storm type quality that instantly puts me in like better spirits. And for those reasons, I really, really enjoyed this track a lot. And I'm quite intrigued to know more about this band, if this is emblematic of their sound, or if they, kind of go all over the place, or what have you. But I'm eager to listen to more of them, because just for the guitar work alone. But they're just also like, it illustrates really great decision making on how to write a song, record a song, and produce a song as well. So ticked several boxes for me, this song.
Yeah, that guitar section was the reason I chose this track.
Ah, well, we are on the same page then.
Yeah, and I stumbled across these guys last year, I believe, and I've kind of worked backwards in their sort of output. But yeah, really interesting, and I think musically they're developed, but within a certain palette. But you're right, the things like technical expertise and the choices they make are just spot on. So, more about them. The Australian band formed in Byron Bay in 2014, and today they are based in Berlin, which is Germany, for those who don't know. So they're known for indie-tronica. Is that a word? It is now. New disco, new, funk, psychedelic pop, soul, alternative dance, indie pop. So the members are Anatoly, Toto, Saret, percussion, drums, Jules Cromelin, guitar vocals, Louis Swain, keyboard vocals, Noah Hill, bass guitar vocals, and Patrick Hetherington, keyboards, guitar, vocals. So all 5 members sing. I don't think I've ever heard all 5 voices together at once. They do switch leads vocals, and they usually do 3-part harmonies. And it varies on the 3 parts. They're really a comedy. Yeah. So all members originate from the coastal town of Byron Bay, New South Wales. And they were individually and sometimes in pairs in lots of different bands before they came together. Swain and Hetherington formed an acoustic folk duo named Louis and Patrick. And they released 2 digital albums through Bandcamp. And I mention this because the album names were We Thought a Kitten Might Lift Our Mother's Spirits in 2013, and We're Not Convinced There Has Been Any Significant Improvement in 2014.
That's funny, because they almost tell us a whole story. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Isn't feeling great. We got her a kitten. To be continued. Oh shit, the kitten didn't work.
Yes, and no significant improvement. And I guess the final album would have been, it was our decision to turn off the life support machine. But anyway, the others are in various combinations. Were in bands called the Sugar Spinners, Lifeline, and Potato Potato, covering certain genres such as funk, folk, metal, and bluegrass. In the final year of high school in 2014, the 5 members formed as Parcels. The name Parcels was taken from an old trade sign which resided at Swain's parents' house. After 6 months together, the band decided to relocate, quite a bold move, to Berlin. There's various bands and stuff like that there, and influences. They released their first EP called Clock Scared in 2015, which got them signed to Parisian label Kitsune. In 2016, Parcels played their first show in France at Paris's Les Bains Bar with Daft Punk in the audience. The duo was so impressed, they invited Parcels to their studio. The band showed the Daft Punk a early demo of a track called Overnight, which they agreed to work on together. The track was in production for over the course of a whole year, and was released in 2017 with production and co-writing credits for Daft Punk. The song ended up being Daft Punk's final song produced together prior to their split in 2021.
Okay.
So in 2018, Parcels' self-titled debut album was released, which included the single Bemyself. Enemy rated it 5 out of 5 and called it cheeky, timeless, and devilishly catchy. It's interesting because they've got quite a following, Parcels have, on internationally, particularly on Tinternet and YouTube and things like that. But many of the major sort of websites do not even mention them. Don't review their stuff. It's really interesting that. Other reviewers, or minor ones, noted the influence on this debut album of Daft Punk, obviously, but Nile Rodgers' guitar sound from Chic, and those gorgeous 3-part harmonies. In 2020, Parcels released their live studio album, Live Volume 1, which is an 18-track tape recording. They recorded it on tape, mixed on analog console in the Hansa Studios in Berlin, and it was mastered without any edits. The whole album is one take. So Hansa Studios, if you didn't know, is located by the remnants of the Berlin Wall. It played host to 70s icons David Bowie and Iggy Pop, where they recorded Low, Heroes, The Idiot, and Lust for Life there. Other visitors included Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Susie and the Banshees, Wire, the Psychedelic Furs, Depeche Mode, making it a really important and prominent studio for that early 80s post-punk new wave sound. Iconic studio for the work that went on there. So this album was released amidst the sort of COVID-19 global pandemic when people were in lockdown. So alongside the album, Parcels released instrumental tutorials on YouTube, etc., for the song I Know How I Feel, on their Instagram account as well. Hill said that it felt very insensitive and not aware to be releasing anything that wasn't in some way connected to the coronavirus, because that was encapsulating everyone's thoughts. So it became a real favorite as a sort of feel-good album. Interesting enough, when they did it as well, it was released with a video of the recording session. Director Carmen Cromelin said that she wanted the camera to be both passive and intimate, so you could politely observe from a distance and walk through the room like a friend. It is a remarkable film, actually, and you see it on YouTube, of the whole performance. And the viewer, it's weird because they're almost socially distanced in different sections or part of the room of the studio. Although it wasn't planned that way, it feels very coronavirus type experience. And for a lot of it, they go without missing a fucking beat from one song into another. It's just seemed, and technically, it is just amazing what they do. There's a couple of mistakes throughout the thing, but they kept it in because it's all just one whole long take, and it's just remarkable. And when I really like the album, which I got first, but this one blew me away when I saw the footage of it. So all the tracks are all their song titles are stylized with no spaces. So Be Myself is like one word, and I Know How It Feels one word, and Be My Enemy and all that sort of stuff. So this track was on the debut album, and it's decent, but it's probably one of the lesser tracks on the album. But the reworkings that they did of some of the tracks on this live one, that guitar solo is not in the original at all, and it's just brilliant.
It's
so
also
it elevates it.
I think it's worth mentioning that it speaks to how quality this song was and this recording was, that it not at a moment did I get this live vibe, you know what I mean? This otherishness to the sound quality that you often have. And sure, when you have that, there are charms to hearing it done like that. But there's also something really special when you can do that and it sounds just like a recorded, produced studio track. You know what I mean? And it was seamless in its sound quality like that. So, hats off to them and whoever, recorded or mixed this live performance. But it was really top shelf stuff.
Yeah. And there's some criticism of the fact it's so clinical live, and they've done other live stuff which has got an audience, But I think the whole point of this is if you experience it as the video, which obviously I didn't give to you, but if you do, it's just really is a fantastic experience. I'd highly recommend it. So lyrics, not that complicated. I know that I can't be a few. I'll be myself. Be myself. I'm told to be over the moon. I can teach myself. But I'm old. I can feel that it's true. I believe myself. And I know it'll be over soon. I can see myself. And then you get that sort of see myself. And then we get the instrumental break. I put in my notes. I wander down to Funky Town. And then it comes back in. And it's lovely, that guitar, because it's so loose. I'd say a good 50% of that is improvised. See him do other stuff, and it's just technically, but it's rhythm rather than lead. But it's just such delightful, Yeah,
and there's enough variance in it that it has a leadish quality to it, in that it doesn't just stay the same stagnant rhythm. It has all this change to it.
I'm delighted that you like this because I did have a different track lined up for you, and I changed my mind only a couple of weeks ago. Because I thought this would be a better introduction and test the waters. So they have done some KEXP,
Oh,
and that'll be next on the list. And you see him doing his a different track where he does
uh,
a bit of a lead there. And honestly, the way he does it is effortless, and he has a fucking great shit grin on his face and a dodgy touch, and it just looks delightful. But anyway, well, so come back from the instrumental break. I'm trapped. I'm trapped in the boot. I can't free myself. Free myself. And I'll talk, but you know there's no use. I can hear myself. Hear myself. The road's blocked. I can tell that we stopped. I will leave myself. Leave myself. And I know if I'm moving or not. I will be myself. 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 It's quite funny at the end. It's like he's a kidnap victim or something of himself. So yeah, they've got huge it's just this feel good factor about listening to it. It is kind of disco-y, dancey music, but it's just it is, and I'm not particularly I am fond of it because I grew up in that era, but it just has this wonderful, quality to it. It just makes you feel everything's going to be all right. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you'll
oh,
listen to the Smiths or you listen to Joy Division. And other times you'll just knock this out with a cheeky gin and tonic.
well,
Um,
it perfectly ties into what we needed during the COVID,
exactly. You
period
see
for
why it was
sure.
popular, yeah.
But I will
So
say that, like, you described a couple of the genres, and you had quite a laundry list there of genres that they kind of tap into. I didn't get that much
no,
disco-y from this,
you
or
will.
electronica or whatever. No, I'm sure in other material by them, but I guess just in this particular song, I didn't pick up a lot of that sound.
So if I can, where the hell is it now? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So, Parcels then released their second album, which is actually two albums
Mm,
packaged as one, called Day Night in 2021. And here they are. And they come as two albums,
mm,
Day and Night.
yeah.
And there is slightly different sound to them as well. How best to describe it? I mean, there's a bit of sort of EDM on one of them. They go into sort of that sort of more clubby, dancey stuff, but not overly. But there is also extra oodles of Barry White orchestration, and it is just something to behold. It really
Okay.
is. I love Barry White, and they're whacking in this with all the strings. It's just so it's a real firm favorite in my collection, and that's what my introduction to them was. And then this. Um,
Okay.
so they also, you'll see in some of their earlier stuff, they had like a 1970s uniform aesthetic. At one point they're all sort of like airliner captains and boiler suits and stuff. And that was chosen as a last minute dressing up for their performance at the 2016 Lollapalooza's after party, and they decided to stick with it. They quite often have dodgy tashes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The sound has been described as being unmistakable penchant for the 70s, fusing together the old and the new. And in their own words, musically, the band draws from Steely Dan, Marvin Gaye, The Whitest Boy Alive, and Toto. The strong rhythm guitar and three-part vocals recall some of the sort of Bee Gees sort of disco work of the late 70s,
Mm,
and also a touch of Kraftwerk's early EDM as part of their sound. They released Live Volume 2 in 2023. It's a bit more up-tempo, a bit more club night. And it was a secret performance at La Palais in Paris, a club there, which they captured it. And it kind of reflects their sort of tweaking of their sound, particularly in Day Night.
mm.
But if you want to get a sense of what they're like live, when they are tight as a gnat's chuff, there's a gig they did recently at Red Rocks, just in June this year,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's on YouTube now. And honestly, I watched it, and it can be summed up as life affirming. It's just
Yeah.
unbelievable, and the crowd go fucking mental, and it is just like a good time.
It
It's
sounds
brilliant.
like it.
So, I just thought I'd give you a little taster of Parcels and see what you thought.
Oh, I loved it, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun, isn't it? It really is. Right, I will wrap things up. Thanks so much for listening, Sandy.
Thank you.
Folks out there, Tell us what you think of Parcels. If you like this, do hit the like button. You know you want to. Please drop some comments. Tell us what you think if you've not heard this before. Tell us what you think if you had heard this before. Tell us what you think if you're not sure if you've heard this before. Tell us what you think if you didn't even listen to it. But you're watching this, so you probably did. But we'd love to hear your comments about this, the band, the track, the album, the other albums, whatever. We always love hearing from you. It makes our day reading your little insights. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And we get enough subscriptions, and YouTube will send us our own glitter ball. So fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, that being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.